The changing landscape of immigration policy in the United States seriously impacts the way that disciple congregations can do ministry. 15% of all disciple congregations are first-generation immigrant congregations, and these churches are located throughout the country serving populations of new citizens in the United States. For example, one example of policy change and how that impacted a congregation would be a Haitian congregation in the Miami, Florida area. This congregation averaged 600 people in worship, and overnight, a small change in policy removed a green card that allowed people to work in that congregation. Nearly a third of the congregation lost their job overnight as a result of this policy change, and you can imagine how that impacted that congregation. Or take a religious worker visa that was given to a Spanish-speaking pastor from Mexico who came to work in a congregational setting in Tennessee. She had received a religious worker visa after 18 months of waiting. When she finally got here, it was only good for a year. She worked for a year, and then the visa was not renewed. Imagine how difficult it is to start a congregation and then to have that end at the end of a year because you can't get the paperwork for a pastor to stay a little bit longer. Or take, for example, a third situation, which was a Vietnamese pastor who came from Vietnam to start a new congregation from the Hmong population in Charlotte, North Carolina. After he was working here for several years to get this congregation established, his son reached the age of 21 years of age. And his son wound up being deported back to Vietnam away from his family because he no longer had legal status in the United States because of his age. All of these issues are impacting our congregations in numerous ways, other brothers and sisters in the name of Christ. I would like to challenge you to get the conversation started at your church. To get more information, go to the Refugee and Immigration website and look for resources there to get the conversation going.